Welcome back to Salary Negotiations Made Simple, where we cut through the fear, confusion, and second guessing so you can confidently ask for what you deserve. Today, we're tackling that question I hear all the time, especially from high achieving women and professionals in corporate environments. Please trust me on this. The real question here is, does negotiating actually make you look difficult, or does it make you look smart? Let's dive in. Let's first acknowledge, why do we fear being seen as too much when we negotiate? This fear has to come from somewhere, right? Studies show that women or minority professionals negotiate, that they're more likely to be labeled as demanding, not a team player. So, yes, there is a social conditioning part of it, especially for women. The norms tend to be skewed against us, so we've been taught to be grateful, pleasant, and to wait our turn. But here's the problem. If you avoid negotiating because you're afraid of being labeled, you're not protecting your reputation, you're limiting your career growth. Because playing it safe is not going to help you get to that next level. So let's reframe this whole fear. We need to reframe negotiation. It's not a risk, it's a leadership skill. Negotiating is not about whether you're difficult. Negotiating is about being strategic about your career and the perception that other people have of you. Think about the leaders you respect, the executives, the directors, the mentors. Do you think they got where they are by never asking for more? By playing it safe? Of course not. Leaders advocate for resources, priorities, outcomes. They negotiate for their or advocate for their teams. When you negotiate your salary, you are demonstrating that same skill. And a smart, savvy leader or a company is going to recognize that. You're showing them you know your value and you're willing to have a conversation about it. And you're showing confidence in your ability to contribute. Companies do not promote people who stay silent. They promote people who own their space and confidently stand up for that. So when you are sharing that you know your worth and you aren't afraid to speak up for it, you're subtly indicating that you are that leader. So, how do you negotiate? And I get this question all the time. How do you negotiate without triggering bias? Yes, there is a strategy. Even if negotiation is smart, you still want to navigate it carefully. There are still some guardrails that I would love to give you. And this way, it allows you to negotiate confidently while minimizing any kind of negative connotations. First, use collaborative language. So instead of framing it as I need or I want, you could talk about I'd love to discuss how my impact deserves this level of compensation or how we can align my compensation with the impact I've delivered. Using we language always helps put both of you, both parties, you and the person you're negotiating with, in the same camp. You're working together to negotiate. Anchor everything. Number two, anchor everything in business value. It's not I want because inflation is up or I want because I'm a single mom. It's about the measurable value that you are going to contribute. Let's talk about ensuring that the contributions that I'm going to make, my compensation reflects that. And it could be in a future job, you are bringing in your network or you're bringing in your ability to open new markets. All of those things will have a measurable value, and then you talk about it in those terms. Stay calm, direct, and professional. Not too many words. Confidence isn't about being loud or even about being verbose or using difficult words. You know your value and you're confident in saying it out loud. There is less room when you speak in short, fact based sentences for bias driven interpretation. Number four, expect negotiation as part of business because it is. Companies expect you to negotiate. One of the very successful leaders on the podcast said that if I don't see you negotiating for yourself, how do I know as a leader you're going to stand up for the difficult things you have to do? How are you going to show up for your team? These are all clues that you're providing your future employer. They don't think you're difficult when you do negotiate for yourself. They understand that you understand how business works. Here's a real story from one client who was super fearful. They came to me and he said, I don't want to rock the boat. I'm worried if I ask for more, they'll think I'm ungrateful or hard to work with, and they may rescind the offer. I worked with him and we built a case. He negotiated a $28,000 increase. And the reason I bring it up is because after he got the job, the manager later told him that she was wondering if he would negotiate because her opening offer was lower than the midpoint of their salary band. This is proof that him advocating for himself did not hurt his reputation. In fact, it elevated it. The right company, the right leader will recognize you standing up for yourself as commendable. To wrap up, staying silent does not protect your reputation. It protects the status quo. Negotiation isn't about being very loud, being aggressive. It's about owning your value. Every time you negotiate, you practice a critical leadership skill. Think about it this way: you're not being difficult, you're being smart, you're being strategic, and you're leading. Now, if this episode resonated, please share it with a colleague who needs this reminder that advocating for yourself is not a risk. It is a next step in your career growth. Until next time, ask for more, lead with confidence, and never apologize for knowing your worth. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.